Welcome to Today and Tomorrow in Scottsdale with Don and Kevin. Kevin, how are you, sir?
Don, how are you? Good morning or good afternoon.
I'm doing good. Whatever time of day is, I'm always doing good when I'm with you in the studio here, man. And we got some jazz going on today.
I can't wait.
We've been waiting for this for a long time, haven't we?
Yeah, it's 2 years I've been trying to get Mr. Jones on.
This is a special today. Today, our guest, we're sitting down with William Doc Jones. He's the founder of the International Jazz Day Arizona Foundation. He's the driving force where world-class music meets the soul of our state and our city. Good timing, too, is April is Jazz Appreciation Month. All sorts of events going on here and everywhere else for that matter. But, Doc, before we get into all the stuff that's happening this month, tell us about your background. I know you're from Chicago. You've been in Phoenix for a long time. And what inspired you to bring jazz to Arizona?
Great question. First of all, let me thank you guys for inviting me down here in this month. Jazz Appreciation Month. With you guys, you're keeping this thing alive, and that's probably what's going on. As I said, I was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. 1971, I got involved in music. After I got a beautiful wife that I've been with now for 57 years, and she said, listen, I got to get you out of these streets, for something happened over here in Chicago. So I wound up in a junior college called Loop Junior College, and of course, the life is everything after that is history. And I do believe in giving back, and you hear a lot of artists say about how music saved their lives, and it truly did. And it pointed me in the direction now. So in 1986, moved over here to Scottsdale, Arizona, and love it, man. I won't live nowhere else. I love this.
So funny how people come here, and then they stay.
Yeah,
they come and they stay. That's what makes Scottsdale someplace special. I think. So you said music changed your life. So talk a little bit about how that happened. You're obviously talented because you're skilled, but how did music change your life?
Well, first of all, again, being from Chicago in the hood back in the 60s, I'm sure you heard about a lot of things going on in there, including that convention in 1968 with the riots and all that kind of stuff. So my peers at that time, you're talking about 16, 17, was going in that direction of trying to fight the system. The system was not designed for that. And that's when my wife decided, let's see can we move in another direction. And I ended up in a junior college. Junior college introduced me to this art form called music. And the minute that I got music in my blood, I ran back to the community, the same projects at that time, Abbey Wells. And didn't say, hey, some of you guys, we've been kind of living a rough life over here. It is another side to that. And to my surprise, a lot of them traded in guns, man, for instruments.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's cool, isn't it?
And some of my peers, I'm sure you've heard Earth, Wind & Fire before, that horn line is just so happened it's called the Phoenix Horns. And those friends of mine took us up under their wing, and and I've been, doing music education for a long time, and that's my mission. That's what God put me here to do.
That's fantastic. Good way to story, huh?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I love music, trading in instruments for guns. What's your instrument? What's your favorite instrument to play?
Saxophone is my primary, but my degrees is in music education. So when you do music education, they make you play all of the instruments. They make you learn a lot of those things that you don't use in the future. But I can play several instruments. I'm a great writer, an orchestrator. So keyboard now in the last 20 years has been my main instrument because I have a daughter that sings. And keyboard players wasn't always available, so I ended up playing keyboard for her. And 20 years later, I'm still trying to figure out how to get back to my saxophone.
That's awesome. Kevin's a drummer, man,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He's a good drummer, too. So he's got music in his blood, too. I, a long time ago, played the trumpet, but that was many years ago. My lips aren't ready for that anymore, man.
It does
back in the day.
It does wear out if you don't keep them up, and that's what my saxophone lips are. But drumming, man, you're going to really like this kid, man, called Herlin Riley, man. Look him up. He's
heard of him.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. But we got one that's here, man, that's about 25 years old called Fred Boswell Jr., and, man, what a drummer. Play all of the styles, just a nice young man, and, can play. Look that name up when you get a chance.
All right.
Remember that name for sure. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you perform with some of the great in jazz over there. You mentioned Herbie Hancock when we were getting ready to tee it up here. And he's he might be the first artist I remember growing up with where I got in tune to jazz.
Is that right?
Herbie
Okay.
Hancock back. He's been here forever, obviously. But
Oh, yeah.
But
He's
is
passed
there
now.
No, he's still here. No,
He's still with us.
here.
Yeah. Is he really?
In fact, Chicago is this year is the home of the Global International Jazz Day, which will be April 30th. Man, but he's about 86 years old now.
I'm thinking Al Jarreau,
Possibly,
maybe.
yeah, you might be.
Yeah,
Well,
Al is gone.
Well, talk about Herbie, because Herbie was instrumental in getting this International Jazz Day month and all that honored through Congress. I think it was a heck of a story. Talk to us about
Well,
that.
first of all, Herbie Hancock is from Chicago, as I am. Like you say, he's 10, 11 years older than I am. Turned out that we both went to the same university, Roosevelt University, back in the day. But Herbie, of course, is a legend, with probably over 30 Grammy-winning, projects out there. In 2012, Herbie Hancock decided we got to do something to keep this art form alive here in America. Around the world, it's been exploding. It's been exploding. So he got with some people, a young man by the name of Tom Carter, and they created a bill and went to United Nations. And they said, hey, that we love this. Let's create this International Jazz Day. And they did. Just so happened in 2012, I was in New Orleans. I'm based out in here. I live here, but I got a media company in New Orleans. And my daughter now lives in New Orleans for the last 20 years. And he said, hey, Doc, you got this media company. This International Jazz Day is going to be something special. You need to get involved. So I came back here. 'Cause I was really thinking about moving to New Orleans because of the music, man, and the food.
Yeah,
But
both of that, that's pretty hard to resist, man.
Yeah.
But of course, my wife, as I mentioned, she said, "You and your daughter go to New Orleans. I'm not leaving Arizona."
You staying put, so are you, I guess.
And
huh?
right. So she had some knee surgery, so I had to come back home, and I'm glad I did because in 2013 we did our very first International Jazz Day celebration.
That's wonderful. You know what's a shame is that we have to have special legislation for something that's widely known around the world. This is a true American art form that was born and invented here in the United States, and yet our own country seems to be abandoning something. You'd think that we would adopt it and really champion it, but unfortunately that's not the case anymore.
Well, it's through efforts like what Doc's doing, what Herbie Hancock did,
Yeah.
So I'm just glad and fortunate that we have people keeping it alive, man.
Yeah.
Which is really good. And the more we can support that, the better off everybody's going to be.
Well, that support is very important, of course. And to my surprise, when you say jazz, they always equate that with older guys. That's old people music.
Yeah. But my wife tells me when I play it.
But I must say that, right now in some of the universities and high school, there's some phenomenal young players that's taking up this genre of music. And so it's some history out here, and the next generation is doing a great job. And that's one of the things that I've fought for. As you just mentioned, I've had the opportunity of playing with a lot of people. But my claim to fame is the work that I've been doing in the community for over 40 years. And to say I played, with groups like The Temptation and Aretha, I don't. That's not my claim to fame. The reason that I had an opportunity to play, again, being a saxophone player, my cousin was the band director for Oldest of The Temptation.
Oh,
Doc,
really?
we need a saxophone player. Can you go on tour with us?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I said. I said yeah, and we ended up in Germany for I guess about 10, 11 dates. Man, it was wonderful. Then they say, "Man, you like this? You want to stay out here?" I said, no. Them cats never stop, man. They work so hard when you hit the stage.
Yeah.
And then I was a school teacher building the program at that time, so I decided to come back. Aretha needed a saxophone player in the orchestra, so I got a chance to play with them a couple of times. But my claim to fame, truthfully, is, I'm a band director. So many artists have played with me. Recorded with me, so I'm not that side man guy. I'm a band director, so I end up hiring them cats.
So we got to do some name dropping here, because when you start talking about Herbie and Aretha,
This is great.
talk about some other artists that you've performed with, and what are some of the highlights that you remember from your journey along that way?
I'll tell you, Pop Staple and the Staple Singers. Have you heard that group? Yeah.
Mavis.
Yeah.
You know Mavis?
Wow. Yes. That was really a claim to fame for me. I went out with them guys, and to see Pops, and then we talking about 30 plus years ago, 40 plus years ago. That was something special. But my true artist that I work with and shaped who I am today, his name is Phil Coran. And if you haven't heard that name, you must hear that name, Phil Coran. And he's responsible for when you hear Earth, Wind, and Fire, he's that guy. Back in the 60s, all them guys played with him, including Maurice White. So they would come by. I was with Phil for about 6 or 7 years. And it's more than music. He taught me it's more than just going on the stage playing music. You have to clean your life up, you know.
Right.
You got certain things when you go on the stage you can't do. You can't go on the stage drunk. You can't go on the stage high, you know, not dressed properly,
right.
And disrespecting the art form. As in the 50s, in the 40s and the 50s, those guys did. Yeah. You know, they was Charlie Parker, Train. They was full of that substance, man. Yeah. You know, they was full of that substance, man. And then so a whole generation of musicians thought, well, you got to be, you know, nodded out. You got to be full, you know, drunk on the stage. Very seldom you don't see them with a cigarette in their hand, you know, playing. And that was not Phil Coran. Phil, he first of all did was clean our diet up. You know,
really?
Yeah. You know, to this day I'm a vegetarian because in order to get in the band, you had to stop eating meat. You know, you had to stop using substances, no matter if it was just only for recreation. And then you had to start studying the importance of this music and how this music affect generations of people that's listening to you when you out there playing. Yeah.
Well, I can see why he was a big influence.
No question about it, man. And a tremendous teacher. A tremendous teacher.
And the professionalism. When you watch a band like Earth, Wind, and Fire, it's so well choreographed.
Oh,
and so many pieces coming together in such a beautiful way. You got to be on top of your game for that stuff, right?
No question about it. And he taught them guys. Maurice was actually a drummer. Those who don't know, Maurice White was a drummer, a jazz drummer. And he a couple of times slipped by, you know, Phil Coran's rehearsal and heard those horns. Because Phil, he wrote all the music. He probably got 1,000 songs that's out there now being played by various people. And he saw the dress, first of all, because we always dress like this, but not Phil. You know, Phil went back to our roots, you know, and dressed and did everything based on the continent, you know. So you see Earth, Wind, and Fire now, they dress, you know, in African garb pretty much. That Frankie phone, we called it, that was Phil Coran. And all of a sudden, Maurice took the Frankie phone and made it famous as well.
Oh, that's cool. What stories, man?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm sure Don's going to ask this question because we could spend the whole podcast just talking about stories about music. But let's talk about your events coming up here.
Man, thank you very much for that. In 2013, I took on the, of course, Herbie had told me to go do it, but not on the scale that I ended up doing it on. And that is to unite the state of Arizona. There's a lot of great music and great festivals going on. So my mission, it became to unite the state of Arizona. And this year, April the 4th, this Saturday, man, I hope you guys join me as we kick off Jazz Appreciation Month at the Western Curl and Spa. Doors open at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
And actually, the doors open at 5 o'clock. We're going to be playing at 6 o'clock. And, of course, you can get tickets at eventbrite.com.
Okay.
I'll take you there. And then right after that, we at the Talking Stick Resort.
Yeah,
this
that's
is the
big
first
show.
year.
That's a big one.
That's April 11th, right?
April 11th.
Yep,
this is the
up.
first year that we moving from our home, which was the Civic Center, for 8 years. But we had outgrown the Civic Center, so now the Talking Stick has been phenomenal, I must say. And I mean, and it's going to be, and I'd like to invite you guys to come out, too, as well, if you find yourself for free that day.
You bet.
It's been on my calendar circle for a month. So.
I'm in, man. I'd love to do that. You bet.
As soon as I, get home, I'll make sure you guys are on there. And then from there, next we end the month at Civic Space Park in Phoenix, Arizona, right on Central, 424. And you can go to brentbright.com.
That's April 25th, right?
April 25th.
Yep.
And I
Now,
got
are there performances on 25th?
Oh man, it's gonna be. We got 8 bands going to be out there, starting with South Mountain Community College, man.
They have a good band.
Yeah, well, you do know them.
I do know. I used some guys that played in that band. That's a good band.
It's going to be great. We got Young Sounds will be out there, and that's one of the young groups, pretty much high school kids. That's the next generation of this music. We got a great lineup, and those tickets are free. I underwrite that under my program called International Jazz Day.
Great.
Oh, no kidding.
Talk about your lineup on April 11th. Who do you have coming?
Man, let's start with my favorite group, one of my favorite groups, and that's Spiral Gyro.
Oh, yeah.
Spiral got 50-year celebration going to be this year. And then we opening up the festival with Nio Jones, featuring Hurlin Raleigh and Jermaine Lockhart, one of the greatest saxophone players here of all time. Then we move right from there to Donald Harrison, which I told you a little bit about Donald. You Google Donald Harrison, you'll see his work speaks for itself. And then we bring on Kermit Ruffin, man. The theme is the flavor of New Orleans.
Okay.
So I'm bringing the flavor of New Orleans right to Scottsdale, Arizona, which I've been doing for a number of years now. And then after that, you got to have some Latin music if you're going to do this. You know, that Latin jazz is really what's happening around the world. And Carlos Rivas and E. Maxal has been a friend of mine for over 25 years and has been with me from the very first downbeat to now.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then Spiral Gyro, you can't go wrong. Tickets are on sale at ScottsdaleJazzFest.org.
Okay.
ScottsdaleJazzFest.org.
Check it out for sure. So what's something people would be surprised to learn about what it takes to pull off a festival or both festivals like this? What goes into that? How do you select the bands? How much work is that? Was that a year-long sort of effort?
For me, no, because I know all the guys, and without my relationships, believe me, we couldn't afford some of the guys that's on my bill.
Is that right?
No, we couldn't afford them. They just want to see me win over here with this music. But the main one of the main reasons that you need to pull this off, and that's you got to have one sponsor that believes in you.
Yeah.
And we have a couple. My title sponsor is Y-Refi.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, is that a new sponsor?
Well, it's actually been a friend of mine for 25 years, too. I keep relationships, man.
You do.
Y-Refi started out Next Student Academy, which it was a loan consolidation company, and that company now, if you find yourself with a problem with private student loans, and you under the water for the big guys,
big, aren't they?
They huge.
Yeah, they've been kind of growing a lot. I've noticed. I've been spotting the paper.
Man, I mean, all over. We about to put our name on the side of the arena downtown, but you see all the ads and without. Don Henninger, CDO, which is also a trumpet player, and I believe that's what it is. Without his belief in this art form that we do, we could not keep going. And then Alfredo Molina, if you haven't heard of Alfredo.
That man can dance, too. Have you seen me in your shows? He loves to dance, doesn't he?
He don't stop dancing, man. We all love to dance, but Al is phenomenal. And I must say, 8 years ago when I met that young man, he just took to what we're doing, and he said, "Doc, I'm with you." And so, and as you know, he's a staple here in Arizona and around the world. Really, he's one of the premier, I guess, jewelers in the world, man.
One of the biggest, you bet.
Yeah, and he's from Cuba too. Just for those who don't know,
really? I didn't know that.
He's a Cubano, and his grandparents were big jewelers. And then, of course, you got to have somebody that can serve that liquor for you, that beer and that wine, and that's Crescent Crown.
Absolutely.
And Crescent Crown has been a great support of ours as well.
They're from New Orleans.
You're right. So you know something.
Yeah, they're from New Orleans.
They are the founder. They are one of the founders of that great festival. Yeah. So Bubba Moffitt. If you haven't heard that name, his fathers and them started that back years ago. And he told me, say, Doc, we started with 300 people. Now over 100, 200,000 people show up at the festival every year forever.
Big.
So
they're a good partner, aren't they?
They are. They really are.
You just named 3 really good partners.
But then I got another one that's just on board with me now. You guys asked some great questions, man. Molly Construction. And what Molly Construction has been doing for years is building housing in here in Arizona. She's from China. She graduated, got a master's degree from ASU, and been here doing this here. So she has joined me in a passion for me. I should say my passion and my life work now. When the COVID came, musicians couldn't play. Right. So if you can't play, how you going to pay rent?
That's right.
So many great musicians lost homes and apartments and all that stuff there. Yeah. So I amended my 501c3 articles of incorporation to include building affordable housing for creative artists. And that project is called Jazztown USA. So Molly has joined me. She got all the background to how to do it. And that's our mission now, to build affordable housing for creative artists.
Let me back up.
Come on, man.
I gotta ask. Wait, you telling me your nonprofit, which is designed to help spread music awareness,
absolutely,
is also now building affordable housing for up and coming or struggling musicians?
Yes, sir. You hit it right on the head.
Wow.
And you can go to jazztownusa.com and kind of hear more about that. But while I was getting ready to say, while I was on tour in Minnesota, it turns out I was there with my daughter. My daughter was on tour, and of course she calls her pops out when there's something that she's kind of getting, Dad, you got to get down here. And so, anyway, while I was in Minnesota, I met an organization, a VP from an organization called artspace.org.
Okay.
Write that down now. Artspace.org. They've been building affordable housing for over 40 years around the country for artists, for creative artists. And they gave me a blueprint and say, Doc, you own something very special, and we need more people like yourself utilizing the art form of, for me, jazz, to bring attention to the fact that right now, the average artist can't afford a house.
Good point. Yeah. So Jazztown, you get some. Where are you building the houses, like for Jazztown?
Well, right
all
now,
over the country, or?
Yeah, no. I'm right here in Arizona.
Right here?
I'm going to stay right here in Arizona. And Molly Tang is her name, that owns Molly, and you'll see her around the festival this year. But Molly owns a piece of land right on 7th Street, just north of Osborne.
Okay, yeah.
And we got blueprints for 18 three-story townhouses. So she elevated my game quick.
Sure did.
And it's and I really like you to write about this. You're a writer, and let's tell the story. We got to raise some money, but who don't?
Yeah,
but I know that it's a need. And I know it's people out here, and you can see building everywhere now. People are building all over the place.
Yep, that's amazing what she's doing.
Yes,
and so she's just getting started now. So that's
she's getting started. But if you ride past 12th Street and Indian School, she has built 14 townhouses there already. She builds them and sells them. So she just sold that, and she's building an office space right on the corner. The southwest corner of Indian School and 12th Street. That's where our new headquarters will be. And then she owns that land, as I said, on 7th Street. So that's where our first project will be.
That's amazing. We do need to get some publicity on that. That's the first time I'm hearing of this, and that is an awesome
So that
project.
wasn't necessarily your idea originally, but you brought it to Arizona and are fostering that commitment here.
I'm smart enough not to take credit for certain things, but that was my idea.
Okay,
there you go.
And I brought that idea up to a person in Minnesota.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And he said, Doc, let me introduce you to somebody.
And
then he walked me there. But Jazztown USA is my idea from the ground up, as well as how to pull this off. And of course, first thing I do, I would never go into a man's house without meeting, and I will say city without, meeting the mayors. And of course, the last 4 governors have acknowledged my work. So I went to, the mayor in Phoenix and talked to them, and then went to the governor's office and talked with the diversity director at that time, and he introduced me to a gentleman over at the CEO of Phoenix IDA. And that's in Phoenix
Development Authority?
Yeah, Phoenix IDA is where that tax bond money is at and all of that. This is about 5 years ago, and we had a great meeting. He looked me right in the eye and said, "Doc, I love your music. You're a great person. But partner, building homes is more than you think it is.
Yeah.
And if you want to do this, you have to find someone to champion with you that have that experience."
And that's what Molly does.
And now we got that person.
Perfect partner.
We got that
great.
person.
That's
Yes,
fantastic.
we got that person.
The more you talk about this, the more you look how music, jazz in this case, can really bring a community together and unite a community. I'm seeing that now in what you're doing with the festivals and this cool thing with the housing for struggling artists. What other ways do you think about how music incorporates community and pulls us all together?
Well, first of all, music education is it. I mean, right now, I created a program 20 years ago called We Jazz, where I put violins in the hands of preschoolers, and we got a micro school now. I'm say we because the owner of the micro school has been my friend for over 20 years. In fact, taught my grandson back in the day, and that's where it starts at. But then when it started happening, when COVID happened, I said, wait a minute, how can the kids feel comfortable learning music when their parents don't have nowhere to live? And that's where that ties into. So we use this, we actually use this, I must say, again, I don't want to take a lot of credit, but my project that's in Sonora, Mexico, the last 2 governors down there, I've been taking International Jazz Day to Alamos, Mexico, for 10 years now. And this last year, we actually expanded it to 4 cities. And then we went down into Mexico and found how this music, when people really don't have much, but their music skills and the love for the art form, it's bigger than the music for me. That's all. That's why I never really was trying to be out touring and doing a lot of things like that, because that wasn't truly my call. My call is to use this music to uplift communities. And plus, I've been married all my life, and and got kids older than you guys maybe. So one of my professors say, "Doc, you need to go into music education and not performance, because you have a skill. One, your skill is communicating with people."
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's what it's
We
all
got to have
about.
people in front of the microphone and people behind the microphone, and people who are like doing that. That's important work.
Yes, sir.
Right?
It's
Good for
very,
you.
very, very important work. But we couldn't do this without people like yourself and the community. That it's amazing to me. And you'll see on April this Saturday, as well as April 11th for sure. You'll see people of all races, ethnicities, religion that's out there. And I also got to mention that in 2019, I was able to convince the Arizona House to pass a bill, and that bill is 2517, HB 2517, and that bill declares April International Jazz Day and Jazz Appreciation Month and International Jazz Day. If you go to that bill, you'll see it right now in the House. And we have another bill, SB, is stuck in the Senate right now with all stuff going on.
I know.
But it would declare April 30th a non-official holiday. And I think that bill is SB 2513.
Okay.
And it's in this House right now. If you Google any of this stuff, you'll see it.
So should we start making phone calls to our local representatives to help you get that moving along?
See, that's you see, man. This guy is
He
sharp.
knows what he's
This
doing.
guy is
He knows
sharp.
what he's
That's
doing.
exactly what we need because Senator J.D. Mesnar has introduced that bill. So, like I say, everything that I'm saying, I see you taking notes there. If you Google that bill, SB 2513. That's the Senate House bill. It's right now sitting in the Senate.
All right.
And let's get that bill passed, man.
Come on, Matt
Makes
Gress.
sense,
and
man. Let's Everybody
Right.
pay attention. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's get a little momentum going here, right?
Yeah.
Doc, you are a force
I
for
appreciate
good
that.
in our community. And I've learned so much from what you're doing today, and it's amazing the impact you're having on our community.
Sometimes it just seemed like walk in the park, but trust me, it's a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and I think you guys know that in this beautiful studio, this work that you guys do. When I got the call, I was saying maybe they got the wrong guy.
No,
No,
I've been trying.
no way.
I keep missing you. I keep trying to get last year, but it was after the event. So.
Yes, yeah.
But man, I just want to say thank you so much. You're so busy, and this is a special month, and to have you spend some time with us today is really important. And man, you've been an inspiration to me today because, like I said earlier, like I'm a big jazz fan. I love the music so much, but you gotta kind of work for it because it's not readily out there. And if you gotta go find it and search for it and kind of procure it on your own to be a jazz fan this day and age, which I said earlier I'm a little disappointed about, but you seem to be really enthusiastic and happy about the future, which inspires me to be happy about the future.
Well, I'm in this for life. I'm doing life with this. And again, let me just ask you guys, how can the general public find you guys? Where are you located at? I know YouTube. You all over YouTube. Can you give you some call letters?
It's all social media for the most part, and then the connections we have around town, which go pretty deep. We've been doing this for 3 years now, so people kind of know we're here. But we could still shout out more, man. The more we get, the better. So that's a great question.
Well, I would definitely, I got about 5,000 or 10,000 people that's on my social media platforms, and I would love to share this with them.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, I would love an opportunity to talk about you guys. And before we get out of here, once again, if you get an opportunity, please try to get my friend George Benson in here.
Yeah,
we will.
And then you being from Pittsburgh
guy, man.
He's gonna have a lot of stories that he tells.
We will. So he's on our list for sure.
Yeah,
thanks,
get George
thanks
in, and I'll do what I can to facilitate that, which is only a small part of life. And when you're dealing with a Grammy winner for 20 plus years, but you did see him. He's if he's in town and not on tour, he's been in my festivals for the last 15 years, including the very first one where he was out there stomping the grounds for us and then, talking about this was coming on.
We're going to do it for sure. Doc, thanks so much for being with us. Thanks so much for everything you're doing for our community. It's been a pleasure having you on board today, and hopefully our listeners will respond, help back that Senate Bill 2513, and show up to all your festivals, Doc. So thanks again for being with us. Really appreciate it. And thanks to all of you for listening. We'll be back again for another episode of Today and Tomorrow in Scottsdale.